Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from AnlolairGhorm, which is Gaelic and means the Blue Eagle. Now he is in the USS Kidd, a tier 8 US destroyer. He's on my estuary, and well, it's a 4-point domination game mode, but there's 2 carriers. Note that one was expected because he's divisioned with a carrier, I suppose. But there is an additional tier 6 carrier. Now, the USS Kidd is known for its great anti-air, and this game will certainly put that to the test. Now, when he was approaching here, he had the anti-air support over Baltimore. The friendly carrier also dropped the fighter plane there. So he, despite the carrier attack, he just continued on his merry way into the cap, immediately turned himself around and has his nose pointed away, because that's how you wanna try to take a cap. Always have your exit strategy open. Now he's spotted here by the planes and he's using his smoke. He really doesn't want to be interrupted if possible. And it looks like that might work out quite nicely. Of course, the enemy carrier can see the tracer fire from the anti-air and can target just that. So if you're using your anti-air inside a smoke screen, the carrier usually doesn't have a hard time targeting you. But the anti-air in the kit is quite good, so it would be a shame not to put that to use. Unfortunately, the friendly Baltimore isn't looking so great there. But, well, we are, what, 2.5 minutes into the game and already up to 21 plane kills. Now the cap has been taken without a problem. It's also helpful that the enemy team doesn't have radar, so that's nice. Now over at the A side it doesn't look so great. The enemy is actually pushing in here with the cruisers. Now that could end up pretty badly for those cruisers, but the Kutuzov does have smoke and the friendlies don't have any radar around there. So they probably can't do an awful lot about that. The friendly destroyer can't fight the cruisers and is probably just playing this a little bit more passive. He also doesn't have a long running smoke that he could use there, and he might just be afraid of getting pushed by Hydro. Well, here over the decap, the cap is secured, the carriers are still coming around. I guess they just wanna lose more planes, probably. Now, Kitty has still not used defensive fire. I mean, there is only 4 and there's still a lot of match to go for, and so far he hasn't felt that threatened, I guess. So we will see how that goes. Now the kit only has 1 torpedo launcher, which means sailing around here and torpedoing stuff will not be the most efficient. But currently there isn't much that our kit can do. It could go to the B cap, but there's always a little bit of risk involved. There's 2 carriers, right? So the carriers could immediately spot him once they know he's there. Now he can use his smoke against them, but they could just wait until the smoke ran out. And if those guys would react, then his exit might be a little bit problematic. Although I guess he could just try to get back behind those islands. Now alternatively, he can just stay here, spot for his team, and try to intimidate those guys with torpedoes. Because even if it doesn't hit them with his torps, the sheer presence of him will probably persuade the enemy battleships to not be that aggressive. Or I guess at least that's the hope. Now, once the smoke is ready again, he could also just use his smoke here and try to use his guns. There's also still a Shiratsuyu, and his presence might stop the Shiratsuyu from pushing the cap. Now once again the planes attack and it looks like both carriers are coming in, so now they go for defensive fire. Most of the enemy ships here are behind islands, so they can't join in on the fun. There isn't much reason to smoke right now. All he's doing is just making it rain planes. Which is certainly nice. So we have some more torps out against North Carolina. The problem is with only 1 torp launcher and a ship facing your way, chance of getting a torp hit is not that high. You can't stack your torps top of each other. So there's probably a very convenient gap for North Carolina. Now it looks like the Vladivostok and the Hood might actually try something aggressive here, but there is still the friendly 2 friendly Monarchs and a Gneisenau here to help out. And you know what? This might actually be a time to use the smokescreen and just get some pew-pewing in. Thing is, with the enemy battleship pushing so aggressive, the friendly battleships can do the spotting. And he can just here shoot. There is still is a minute until his torps are reloaded, but I don't think that Vladivostok is coming in that fast. So he's a major threat here, and that Vladivostok certainly doesn't wanna... Well, I mean, the Vladivostok doesn't know if the torpedoes are ready, so he wants to be careful of that smokescreen. But the way the Vladivostok is currently traveling means he is broadside to all of the friendly battleships, and well, that was unfortunate. But hope it didn't hurt too well, and the Kidd also comes with heals. So yeah, at Vladivostok, trying to avoid the smoked up destroyer, is sailing fully broadside. Also we found the Shiratsuyu, and obviously that's a primary target. So Shiratsuyu is gone. But the Shiratsuyu tells us something else, right? There is most likely there are torps on the way. Because when there is a smoke, there are torpedoes headed towards the smoke. Most of the time. So he could have tried to angle against the torps and he used his smoke a bit more, but he's going for the safe option and he's retreating. The Vladivostok still seems pretty healthy, considering that friendly battleships had its broadside for a while, but then again, there is always some RNG involved in that. And look at that, here are the torps. So overall, the left flank is pretty much as you'd expect. The enemy just keeps pushing. The friendlies still have a reasonable defensive force there, I guess. And it looks like it's time to farm more planes. Now both carriers were around, well, I guess the torpedo bombers are already down. There's still some dive bombers around. Now the Vladivostok is taking a torp here, and the Vladivostok goes down. Which just leaves the North Carolina around here. Now that Gneisenau and that Monarch, maybe they can push that North Carolina now. Actually, I guess the Division Monarch basically has a chance. He could just go left and try to reinforce those guys. If he opens up a crossfire with like the ships here on the left, if the enemy pushes too far, that might actually be pretty handy. Otherwise, he could just push forward and try to take out this North Carolina. And again, create a crossfire here with the Gneisenau. The friendly ships here on the left, I mean, they could seek also some cover behind those islands. I'm not sure how healthy they are and how well they'll hold on. But I guess we're going to find out. The friendlies are doing good points-wise and they are a few ships ahead. So right now everything looks just nice. And well, AnlolairGhorm is just pushing here forward. He can try to torpedo this North Carolina, soften it up a little bit, and then hopefully take the B camp. He could try to go for this channel and go back and defend. But it looks like everyone here is pushing, so he is getting in with the trend. Now, the North Carolina seems to be reversing. And the torps of the Kidd are not the fastest, with only 9.2 kilometer range. Not sure if the torp, if he could reverse out of the range in time or not. Torping from the front is also not the most beneficial, obviously, because there will most likely be gaps. So he's holding his fire right now, maybe hoping to get around here and get off a better torp angle. But considering how this North Carolina is moving, it looks like it's not getting better. I'd still try to torp here, I suppose. I mean, I don't see him getting a much better target in the near future. But look at that, all of those musings are interrupted by another carrier attack. Doesn't seem strong enough for defensive fire just yet. And look at that, he's found a carrier. Now I'm not sure why he isn't launching his torps here regardless. I guess he now considered to use his torps against the carrier if needed. But that's assuming he can get, so far that carrier isn't really running away yet, but it's probably going to change very soon. Now both friendly carriers also have realized what's going on and they are actually pushing up here with the friendly team. All of the left flank has been taken out unfortunately and the friendlies are now even behind. So it's not so great. The enemy lightning will probably soon take the C cap, which means the friendlies will wanna try to take B as fast as possible. Now we have two monarchs here that can challenge that North Carolina. We will see how that works out. Meanwhile, poor Tier 6 carrier just gets farmed. And well, there are some more planes incoming. But you know, Kidd is still pretty healthy. 2 defensive fires left. And I mean that Tier 6 carrier is not getting away here. Now meanwhile, as expected, the enemy destroyer has entered the sea cap. That's something that the carriers could deal with, but I think the carriers are currently helping against that North Carolina in order to keep those battleships alive. How are they? Monarch still pretty healthy and North Carolina not so much. And that usually is taken care of. Oh. Monarch really should start slowing, like, not going to end in a ram. That would be pretty disastrous for the... that was a ram. So, well played by the enemy there, I suppose. I haven't seen this battle up close. The Monarch, maybe he should have just started slowing down. If the enemy is coming in for a ram in a battleship, you will probably not have much ways of avoiding it with agility. But you can, like, reverse in order to make it longer for the enemy to reach you if he's on very low health. And I have a feeling the friendly ship is a little bit mad at that. But honestly, it was good play by the enemy, right? It was a very good play. So, anyway, the friendlies are equal on ships regardless, but they are a few points behind and the enemy has 3 camp zones. So what's now important is to take more camp zones and maybe sink another ship. Now, destroyer here, obviously, AnlolairGhorm wants to take the B cap. Also from the B cap he can decide to either go after the Hipper and the Gneisenau or try to hunt down the Lightning or then come around here again and go after the Enterprise. But most importantly, once he's inside B, he stops the points gain and he can take the cap for the friendlies. There's still 6 minutes to go, so there's plenty of time to take this cap, but it won't be enough. Friendlies have to either sink something or get another cap very fast. Now Hipper and Gneisenau seem to be on low health, and there is 2 carriers left. So 2 carriers focusing down something like that Hipper should really do the trick. Now it looks like the dive bombers are going for the Gneisenau here. And that was a very splendid hit. Yeah, okay, Gneisenau also has some very terrifying anti-air. So with that gone, that makes the Hipper an even easier target. Meanwhile, we are still here just quietly capping. Now, looks like the Enterprise is running away this way. Honestly, the Enterprise could also just run to J1, which would probably be... Like, what the Enterprise would want to do in this case is kite the destroyer away from an objective. So that the destroyer has to decide to either shoot the Enterprise or cap an objective. But currently, the way the Enterprise is going is just running into LED. And again, I mean, if the Enterprise can make it around this corner here into C, well, we will see what our Kidd here decides. Now, you see, the enemy team is like a few points up ahead. So, if he can sit inside A for a brief moment, or C for that matter, then that's enough to flip it in the friendly team's favor. You need to just prevent like 3 ticks of the A cap, and the friendlies will take the lead again. Of course, the Hipper is still pretty low, so the friendly carriers might just take that out. Then again, I'm not sure how healthy the other friendly ships are. Now defensive fire is once again running and it's raining once more planes. And another 16, 17 planes here, 18. Just keeps giving. Now it looks like the Enterprise didn't make a sharp turn towards the sea cap, but instead is trying to go for the zone wall. Guess he just changed his mind here now. Now he's made it into the cap and now it just comes to preventing those few ticks. So very soon the friendlies should overtake me and well, he can still keep shooting the Enterprise. Now the question becomes, once the friendlies have more points, will he leave again and just try to hunt down the Enterprise, or is he just trying to... I think honestly at this point he might just take this cap here. The friendlies are going for the tipper and the tipper was super low, so I'd expect the tipper to sink soon. Which will just lead to the friendlies' victory, I suppose. And there are some drops in, he can't dodge them all. Quite a big hit there, but he's still floating. Obviously the downside of trying to take this cap is it makes him much more stationary and an easier target for those torpedo bombers. But now his attention is once again on the planes, and so he can easily dodge the next salvo. Interesting enough, the tipper is still alive. So the Lightning is trying to catch up to the carriers. So it looks like the friendly carriers are now just going to hunt down the Lightning. Actually, the hit is low, the Enterprise is relatively low. I don't know how healthy the Lightning is, but the friendlies have taken the third cap. The friendlies by now have a nice lead. Now, keep in mind that if the enemies sink a ship now, the enemies might still take it. But if the friendlies survive just a little bit longer, then this is a win. And if they sink something, then yeah, it's an immediate win. And now here we are with the results. AnlolairGhorm found himself 3,175 base experience, a few experience less than his division carrier. So yeah, very nicely done there by him. He shot down 128 planes and didn't even get a single achievement, which is kinda sad in its own way. So yeah, didn't do an awful lot of damage, but he really showed those carriers that destroyers can't fight back. And I very much enjoyed watching that. I certainly hope you did too. And I'll see you guys next time.